to athletics LLC with Lamar, Lucious, Big League Chew, and my man Clyde. You're about to be schooled in all things track and field. This is experience. Yes, sir. We are talking past, present, future. Y'all listen up. Let's go.
Hello, beautiful people. 'Tis us, Athletics LLC in the Four Tiles. And here we are again, back at you with some fun stuff. I don't know. It
made it sound like a rap group.
I know.
Right?
Chicka, chicka, yeah. Mic check 1 2 1 2. Well, let's just go in it. You know, week 2 of our macro cycle here. let's just get busy. I'm just kidding.
Did you really say that?
I did.
She did.
You can tell what I've been doing. Yes.
She was on one pre-show. Now it's bleeding over.
It's the deliria. The deliria. So we're gonna jump in and just talk about some of the bigger things that are happening right now. You guys want to talk about me? This boy looks like freaking Flyman right now. Oh my gosh.
You said we were rappers, so you know I had to get in character.
Anyhow, so that was a good 3 minutes. We are going to talk about the Big 12 because now we're circling back after the initial conversation, and we've got applications and accepted applications and approved applications from 4 schools who will now be a part of the Big 12 and actually make it a true 12-school conference. Houston, Cincinnati. I worked so hard to remember this and now it's gone.
UCF and BYU.
There you go. I was like, oh my gosh, I remember they were polar and I couldn't do it. But so, you know, what are our thoughts on this? Where does this go? How does it go?
Okay. So as usual, my response to this is nuanced. I have friends and colleagues that work at those particular schools that have now been added to the Big 12, as we all do. And for those friends and colleagues, I am happy for them. It is a step up for those schools. And in theory, it sounds like, you know, a net positive for everybody. But I got to tell you, when I saw the news about it, I felt it was desperate on the part of the Big 12, and I am not certain that it's going to solve the issue that they think it's going to solve. And that's just kind of where I'm at with it. Like that, the Big 12 now feels more like the best G5 conference in the nation rather than part of the P5. And that's just how it feels to me. I don't know.
I'll jump in. I'll take the stick and run second leg on this one. Like Mr. Clyde, I was met with a resounding when I saw the results, and I thought, well, okay, so the Big 12 went from 12 to 10, from 10 to 8, and now it's the medium 12. Because adding 4 group of 5 schools, well, it's not even 4 group of 5s. That's the even weirder thing. It's 3 group of 5s and an independent that has no TV market. It definitely is an act of desperation. Like, how do we continue to make ourselves relevant? And look, I get it. I'll say this. It was the only move they had to make in order to survive. But I don't think it's actually survival. I think it's delaying the inevitable, right? Like at the end of the day, this is the part that nobody wants to hear. Look, I don't dislike the Big 12. I actually like the Big 12. However, when we get to the brass tacks of it, it's about television markets and football, right? Regardless of what you think about Big 12 football, we don't need to argue about that. When you go to television markets, let's just call it what it is. Of the 8 that were remaining, if you took the other 7 and added up all the televisions, they're slightly less than the Dallas Metroplex, which is represented by TCU, right? So there are no television markets in the Big 12. So you take those 8 with one legitimate TV market and you add 4, okay? So you add the Houston market, medium sized. You add the Orlando market, good sized. You add the BYU following. I mean, it's a farce to say that they have the Salt Lake market, but sure, another medium sized market. Well, there's 2 problems with that. One, now you got a good TV market, 2 medium sized markets, and an okay following, and the rest of the Big 12. That's not enough to survive or make you really a Power 5. 2, and this is the part that nobody wants to hear. When the Pac-12 decides to flex and add 4, this is what they're going to do. They're going to take TCU, they're going to take Houston, and that therefore will end the Big 12, right? They'll take those 2 and probably add BYU and Boise State, or worse, they'll add BYU or Boise State and San Diego State. They'll go to 16 and have all the TV markets that are west of the Rockies, and that'll be it, right? Like the Big 12 is just geographically kind of screwed in this whole pie, right? Like it's not their fault. They're not mismanaging anything, but the number of TVs in Stillwater are what they are, right? Like that's just what it is. So I guess I'm hopeful. Like, you know, the cooler heads could prevail and the cannibalization of the globe, you know, won't continue. But I mean, we all know, like, look, it's when money's involved, as Sir Lucious said, that we've had this conversation before, when money's involved, and money's always involved with football, like, look, if I can make $1, I want 3. That's the way football thinks. That's the way TV thinks. So it was an act of desperation, and the only move they could make, but I think it honestly is probably staving off the eventual inevitable.
You know, we all said desperate people do desperate things. It was definitely a move of desperation. And I personally think that it could have been handled better. It could have been better planned. I think there's other schools out there they could have gone after to make it more attractive, but that's what they did. I also believe that inevitably down the road, they're going to disappear. I'm not sure how quickly it happens, because if the Pac-12 doesn't do anything soon, then Houston and BYU are going to be stuck in the Big 12 for a while. So the old contract get out of stuff. But I also believe that they're a glorified group of 5 conference now, because there's not a powerhouse school in the conference when it comes to a Power 5 situation. And I'm not sure that either they didn't realize it, or they didn't care, or they just wanted to protect the name of the Big 12 when it came down to this. So at the end of the day, it'll be interesting to watch. There'll be some entertaining football games, and and other sports within the league. But at the end of the day, they will not be able to dance with the other conferences when it comes down to it. So they should hope that the playoffs expand and they take conference champions, because if not, they're not getting in.
I mean, if you take, because it's all about, as Lamar said, dollars, TV, football, right? If you take what is left of the American and combine it with the Mountain West, that's a way better football conference than what the Big 12 has just constructed. And there's way more TV eyes from those places. Like they left.
That's the big part is all the TV
right.
eyes. You're 100% correct there.
They left Memphis out. They left New York out with UConn in the mix. Like the Tampa area is left. Like, and I mean, as far as the Mountain West is concerned, we got the Denver market. We have the Bay Area. We have San Diego. Like, it just, yeah. I was just like, oh, well, that was interesting. And to bring it away from football and bring it back to track and field, I think it's going to make an interesting championship meet. I'd like to watch that, but from a football conference perspective, I'm like, whatever.
So you brought up something you just said that I liked, because I was thinking about it outside of football. And I heard this out of the basketball coach's mouth last night, was the Big 12 is and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know. I stopped paying attention to college basketball, to be honest with you. Is the Big 12 to be considered one of the premier basketball conferences?
Yes.
Really?
The Big 12 is a better basketball, is a much better basketball conference top to bottom than the SEC is. But it doesn't
and
matter.
that's what was stated.
Okay, that I agree with, but that's a low bar.
But it doesn't matter. That's the whole point,
Look,
right?
y'all
Like,
get off the
it
SEC.
used to be football and basketball, but the truth of the matter is, at this point in time, it's football. Like, nobody cares about basketball revenue anymore.
No,
They just don't.
Yeah, no,
So,
there's such a huge gap between
the
football and
NCAA
basketball.
does. The
Yeah.
NCAA cares a lot about the basketball
Oh
revenue.
yeah, right. The NCAA loves basketball revenue. That is
Right.
the revenue.
Yes.
So like in consideration to the teams that they added in the baseball eyes, like that feels like it's a little more even. In the football eyes, it doesn't seem worth much.
I don't think any of us are saying that it won't be a competitive conference. I don't think anybody's saying that, there'll be some basketball schools within the Big 12, Kansas State, Baylor, and Houston's, pretty good on occasion, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there'll be some competent championships. There'll be some competent schools in there will challenge for championships outside of the league. But top to bottom, I don't think it really strengthened it. It weakened it in more ways than it strengthened it. So
yeah.
I mean, from a basketball perspective, adding BYU, what was it again? BYU, not relevant
Cincinnati.
for basketball.
Yeah, no,
UCF,
they're the most.
UCF, not relevant for basketball. Houston, sure.
Houston and Cincinnati are relevant basketball schools.
But wasn't UCF weren't they in the tournament the last couple years? Or did I make that up? I could be making that up.
That's when they had the 7'6" dude. And well, they are relevant because they have a former Dookie as their head coach.
Sure.
That makes them relevant.
In the past, 10 years, like Florida Gulf Coast was more entertaining than UCF basketball.
Dunk City.
That's neither here nor there.
Eddie.
All right. Well, I know being in the Big 12 and knowing who the additions are, there's some potential exciting moments per se.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But I think, as a whole, we're still scratching our heads.
Yeah, I don't disagree. And if you dig into it, you know why they did this. Like I said, they were kind of desperate. But what other act could they really do to save who they are?
Yeah,
they had to do something so that they didn't just get left hanging out there and then everybody just took off. So they had to show the schools within the league, we're going to try to save who we are. Yeah. So that's what they went and did. So they lost 2, they picked up 4. And the 4 they picked up, again, they're not the 2 that they lost, but it's better than the 4 that they didn't have, right? So they got better than they would have been if they did nothing. And there will be, like, again, the track meet's going to be fun. I mean, geez, I'll come watch that.
I'd love to watch BYU in a Big 12 track meet with all they got going on up there. I'm here for that.
Yeah. Houston's gonna make some noise.
Right.
Houston's gonna piss some people off. Dana's gonna
so's Dana and the crew in
Orlando.
Exactly.
Track meet. I'm with it.
Right.
Yeah, and in Cincinnati, if you paid attention, Cincinnati was pretty good in the distances last year. So the track league definitely just got better.
Yeah, sure. I looked at our distance coach and I was like, sorry.
You were like dead woman walking.
Oh man. Oh,
BYU is coming, buddy.
Yeah.
Because BYU and Cincy are both good.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, I remember when Colorado first went to the Pac-10 and they became the Pac-12, and I'm looking at the Stanfords and the UWs of the world like, because now you're going to get a dose of your own medicine. Like, you put more money in distances than everybody else, but they put all of their money in distances and they live at altitude. They're going to own you.
You know what? And this isn't important, but I do find it funny, and I wanted to ask y'all. Like, the Big 12 has had 10 schools in it forever. So
not
now,
forever, but for a while, yes.
Right. So now Texas and Oklahoma dip, and all of a sudden we need 12. So these 4 are the equivalent to the other 2.
And I think that's exactly what they thought. In an effort to make up for those two, they went after those four. No doubt in my mind. That's what
which is hilarious to me. So my question is, it's 2021, it's fall of 2021. 5 years from now, fall of 2025, 26, whatever.
Public
Is
matter.
there a Big 12?
No.
Yes, yes, there is.
Yes.
In
no.
2026?
Yes, there is.
2026.
Yeah,
Is there a
in-
Big
Yeah.
12?
There has to
In,
be
in
because the contract.
2026,
There will be a Big 12 for longer than we think, simply because there's a fight to save it. If they just lay back and said, forget it, we're just going to disperse. But this is their way of saying we're not going away. This is their way of saying we want to be a part of the Power Five. And I
I was-
obviously, they didn't capture the markets that could have been captured. But when you look at because the biggest loss with this market thing was Texas, right? And so they get a piece of that back by getting Houston, getting Houston in there. They get a piece of that. And then they get the Orlando market. So I understand what we're saying. Like, there's no Texas amongst those four. There's no Oklahoma amongst those four. But as a group, that's a very attractive group to pull into that league. And I do still think it was an act of desperation, but they had to make an act of desperation or they were going to disband totally. They had no choice. And when you stop and look at it, as we've said, there's going to be some interesting championships. And of course, the one we love the most, that track league just got better.
Oh yeah, we all agree with that.
Yeah.
Much better track meet. I'm
Yeah.
here for the track meet.
Yes. Chu's going to be on the sidelines saying, y'all going to watch this. This is going to be
I
good.
know. I'll just sit back.
Exactly.
Yeah. Or no, you know what? I take that back. Let me reword that better. I'm not sitting back because
I was going to say, you're going to be right in the middle of
in
it.
the meet,
It's-
I'll
it's-
be
it's like-
right there.
So what happens is, like, the rest of the league steps up.
Mhm.
Like when A&M stepped into the league, the rest of the league was like, whoa, Missouri came into the league in the first few years. They had attitude, they had chip on their shoulder. They were doing nice stuff. So the
Mhm.
schools that are coming into the Big 12 are going to have a chip on their shoulder. Like, we got to show we belong. And the ones that are in there, we got to show y'all that, who the kings are. So the meet's going to get better. And it's going to happen in football. I mean, did anybody really expect that Missouri was going to be as competitive as they've been at times in the SEC? They've been very competitive. And it's been much better than people thought they would be. Because you step up to the level you have to, or in this industry, you don't have a job, so you better step up, right?
On the other hand, Texas gets blown out by Arkansas, but we're not getting into that right now.
I mean, it happened, right? It's what happened.
Goodness gracious. All right. Well, bringing it back to primarily our world, talking about how the Diamond League and how the last few weeks have gone, and we're wrapping up. We're literally bringing track to an end at this point, to only start collegiate track again. But
No, not till December. We got a couple of months.
I feel like we're already there. It's even through the sweat and the mugginess. I'm like, December 4th is already going to be there. I already feel it.
And it will be here before you know it.
Oh my goodness, yes. And I relish in all of it. Don't get me wrong. I'm ready to be there. But let's talk about the performances we've seen to wrap up Diamond League, to wrap up these one-offer meets that have popped up and happened and whatnot. What are performances that have stuck out to you? I know we've kind of gone over this, but there's been even more performances that have happened. And what were some instrumental performances that will take us into the next year?
You okay, Chu?
That was rough. That's a lot of words.
Get that girl. Less words, more water.
Yeah,
I
there you
know.
go.
I know.
Yeah, so I'm just going to start with, I've been super impressed with Valerie Young. I mean, breaking the American record again. She's consistent. I mean, it's just a wonderful thing to watch. So I'm just going to put her out there. And obviously, Mr. Krauser continues to just go show up and beat people and do wonderful things. And so I'm going to start with those two. I know that's kind of not my area, but very impressive with the throwers. They've been getting it done. Yeah.
So with the Olympics being where they were in the calendar, I think what I'm going to call the postseason, right after the Olympics, has given an opportunity to highlight a few different people that I think didn't get enough love for the seasons that they've ultimately had, and there's no bigger example than that of Michael Cherry. Michael Cherry's had the best season of his life.
Mhm.
Props to Michael Cherry. Props to John Smith. Again, I will never understand why more 400-meter runners are not seeking the counsel of John Smith. But what are we at now? 12 marks under 12 times under 45 seconds this year, and finishing it off with the best race of the year in that event, wire to wire with Karani James, beating him to the line, Diamond League champion. Listen, Fred Curley's moved on to the 100. Wade Van Niekerk's, on the mend. The 400 meters is wide open moving forward. And why not Michael Cherry as one of the favorites to be the world champion next year? Like, he's earned that.
Stevie Gardner might have something to say about that.
Sure, but nothing. But Stevie hasn't like just utterly dominated any. Like he's just not destroying people at a consistent clip like that. I could totally see Michael Cherry being ready to run.
World and a big champion.
I hear you. I understand that. So you're telling me that Stephen Gardner's unbeatable?
That's all
I'm saying. Michael Cherry.
Hold on a second.
I can see him being.
I'm a Mike Cherry fan, and I'm a John Smith fan, but you have to pay homage to the champion.
We
and
did.
You have to pay homage to the guy.
We did that multiple times.
When you say why not make Michael Cherry a favorite, I say why not because Stephen Gardner.
No, I said one of the favorites. One of.
Well, okay. You are allowed to have your favorites. I have a favorite. So.
All right.
The king is the king until you take him off his throne.
Indeed.
Yeah. I think Sir Lucious actually talked about one of the things I wanted to talk about is like the ridiculously understated nature of how great a season that Ryan Krauser has had. Like I need people to stop for a second and understand that Ryan Krauser's had probably one of the top 5 track and field seasons that any athlete in the sport of track and field has ever had. He's not only not lost, he broke the indoor world record and the outdoor world record. And just so you know, that doesn't happen in any event ever. That
right.
Very, very rarely happens that you break the indoor world record and the outdoor world record in your events or even in like events in the same season.
Destroyed them. Not broke them.
I mean, yeah, and that is like one of those somebody needs to stand on the building and scream from the, scream like the town crier. And the other one is I can't say it any other way, but like, what do we do with Marvin Bracey? Like Marvin Bracey is the best sprinter on the planet right now, right? Like today, if we had to have a race, if we were all gonna put money on it, I'm gonna put money on Marvin Bracey. He'll beat everybody that's left running. And that's an interesting thing to happen in the back, because it's not half, but like the back third of the season that was left after the Olympics, which
let's call it the back 10, not the back.
Sure, whatever it is, right? The fact that any of it exists, I have an issue with, right? Like the season should end when the Olympics are, but that's a whole nother thing, right?
Right.
But it's a bizarre thing to like be peaking and hitting a crescendo like once on a high school track, and like in these odd places, and in Zagreb, which is a beautiful place, but Zagreb is after the Olympics and after the Diamond League final. It is the weirdest thing on the planet to like smash everybody in the world and run one of the fastest times in the world after all of those things. It is. It's just weird, right? It's just a weird thing.
And for people, he got hurt at the trials.
Exactly.
He got hurt at the trials. He looked really good coming into the trials.
Yeah.
Suffered an injury at the trials.
And to the credit of his competitors, they were in both of those races. He was not.
Facts.
Yeah,
Facts.
Sure. But it doesn't change the fact
I think we all understand
he's
why
the
he's
best
beating them, right?
Exactly.
Like he's fresher than they are, and he's more motivated than they are. Like I get it.
It doesn't discount what he's done. You're right.
It doesn't discount what he has done and is doing. So that's why I said, like, the thing to bring up for conversation is like, well, what do we do with Marvin Bracey? Because at the end of the year, there's going to be, track and field news or whatever, world rankings.
You don't do anything with Marvin Bracey because he did nothing at the major
right. So like, it's at the end of the day, it's going to be weird. Like that dude's not going to be, He probably won't be in the top 10 in the world. He's run under 990 3 times in a row.
He'll
Well,
find a way. He'll be in the top.
Yeah, but now you're getting back into the world rankings and why they're a joke, so
Right.
but let's not do that today.
Well, we're talking
Yeah,
about the world
I don't want to go that.
Maybe we should talk about the track and field news rankings. That's a different deal. Because
I meant the track and field news rankings.
Yeah, that'll be
fair enough.
He might sneak into the back end of that. He might.
Honestly, I was really impressed with the way Devin Allen finished this season. Devin Allen ran at the end of the season the way I thought he was going to run in the Olympics. And given the race that Grant put together, Devin would have beat the people that he's supposed to beat and would have been there. So, I like Devin Allen. He's a hell of a competitor, very, very good hurdler. If he can just be consistent when he absolutely needs to be, he's gonna make a lot more noise. So he's looked really good at the end of the year.
America has another sub-13 guy.
Yep.
Yes.
And I
Congrats
think
on
that's
being
awesome.
into that club.
I'm calling it now. There's more to come.
Oh yeah.
There's more to come. And I think that, we as a country need to, and I know this is kind of off topic, but we better wake up and understand that the rest of the world is wide awake and trying to beat our brains out. So we better stand up and start coaching, because the party's at our house next year.
Oh,
and we cannot host a party that we don't participate in. I'm gonna just leave it right there. Right.
The first time ever World Championships on American soil.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody is going to want to petty curb stomp Team USA in the cathedral. So they better be ready for it.
Yep. There's the challenge.
Well, let's talk about an internal challenge before we get there, because I'm not going to let the Diamond League go yet. So at this point, we all know the displeasure, the absurdness, the WTF moments that the final rounds of the field events have caused with the Diamond League's implementation.
Say my word?
Yes.
Retarded.
Yes.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say the other word you like. The fuck.
Yeah, I thought that's where.
No, that's not my word. That's yours. I don't dislike the word, but it's yours. Okay.
Right. But they've got this finals process that has not, to the audience, who we all thought it was supposed to be pleasing, and maybe they thought it was supposed to be pleasing, and it's not panning out, so as opposed to just keep complaining about it. I mean, we do have the obvious is to keep it the way it is. That's how you resolve it. But what do we have to say about this in actuality, now that we've seen it completely play out? I'm gonna stop talking. Go.
I have the exact same thing to say about it that I said when it started. It's a fraud. It is utterly ridiculous. It is destroying the competitions. It is screwing with people's money. And ultimately, I'm pretty sure it's screwing with the rankings as well. For those who need a refresher, the final 3 nonsense in the field events says we have the competition, and after round 5 in a throw or a jump competition, we stop the competition. Everybody's marks go to 0, and the top 3 competitors do 1 more performance, and the winner in that round is the winner of the competition. So you can break a world record on jump 3 and lose the competition because you scratched on jump 6. It's ridiculous. The reasons it was put in place were lies. It has nothing to do with crowd participation or it's going to make it more interesting. It hasn't done any of those things. If you want to be cute and jazz up the field event competitions, you know what you do? It's very simple. Make the final round for an extra 10K. Pay the athletes who do best on their last jump. Doesn't mean you win the competition, but if you win the final jump, final throw, give them some bonus money for it. Like I'll watch that. But to decide the winner on the last performance is utterly stupid, and I don't even know why they had to change it. But if you're gonna change it, give people some more money and leave the winners be winners.
I think that's your idea just as bad as what they're doing, to be honest with you, because you're still cheating the guy that had the best jump or the girl that had the best jump in the competition. But I'm gonna just say it like this: it was fine the way it was,
Of course.
producing phenomenal marks, phenomenal competitions. The intrigue of there's always somebody that's having a difficult day. The Brittany Reese of the world that's down there in fifth, who gets on the runway and goes from fifth to first on her last jump. Those kind of things. And so there's just some things about track and field that are tradition, and that's one of them. So let's just do what we've always done. Quit trying to be cute. Quit trying to jazz up something that doesn't need to be jazzed up. There's some other things in track and field that could be jazzed up. That's not one of them. Let that be.
Some gimmicks are cool. Like, I don't remember what meet it was. I'm pretty sure it was an indoor meet a couple years ago where it was like the 5,000 meters. And after the first 4 laps, if you were in last place, they pulled you off the track. I'm here for
like
that.
the
I
devil's
thought that was
medal,
cool. Like, that made the race better. I thought it was cute. Cool. I don't want to do it, in championship settings or anything, but, something. Just not this.
So I'll just, there are almost no field event people that were involved in making of this decision. The worst part, unfortunately, is the actual idea came from a decathlete, which is, I still don't know what he was smoking, but just think of it like this. And what used to be awesome, right, is when somebody got it all right, got their minds right, and performed in a dominant fashion and stole the competition on the first jump. Carl Lewis, 1984 Olympics, long jump. Jumped far as hell, stole the competition, was like, hey, I'm not jumping anymore. I got other things to do. I'll let you guys jump for the next 5 rounds and then I'll get my medal and we're good, right? Under this format, Carl would have sat around for four rounds and then had to jump in round 6.
That's right.
That makes no sense. Like, I'm already better than y'all. I've proven that I'm better than y'all. Why do I have to prove it again to get my money? It makes no sense. It makes no, like literally, it's one of those deals. Like,
for 1 second, Carl would not have this happen.
Yeah, it's for sure. That is a true statement.
Well, you know what? While we're interrupting Lamar on that point, props to people like Brittany Reese who said, "I'm not going," and that's what everybody should have did.
We apologize, Lamar. Continue.
No, we're good. We are more than good. I think it is just at the end of the day, like, look, this is what I hope. I'm afraid that this isn't what's going to happen, but this is what I hope. What I hope is somebody had an idea, they threw it up against a wall, they realize now that it doesn't stick, and then they change it. I unfortunately know how our sport works. They probably won't. But I'm hopeful that that's what it is. I'm hopeful that watching Ryan Krauser crawl around the corner and basically do a glorified stand throw in Eugene, because he wasn't about to lose and he's getting his money. I think that somebody is gonna, like, aesthetically look at that and go, that's not what we were trying to do. Right? Because at the end of the day, that isn't what they were trying to do. Right? Rojas crushing everybody else in the women's triple jump, right? And then in her last jump, basically doing like this. She backs up an entire shoe and then brings it down the runway, is nowhere near the board, but wins by 25 centimeters because that's the only way she can make sure she gets her money, right? She's not inspired to go after her 6th jump and try and break the world record, because if she fouls, she gets no money.
Right.
Well, not no money, she gets 3rd place money.
When
and that's ridiculous.
She gets told she lost the competition.
Right. Like, that's ridiculous. So at the end of the day, I'm hoping that the people who make these decisions look at that and understand, like, okay, this is what we were trying to do. We didn't get it done. Let's try something else. Or just leave it alone, which they won't do. But if they just left it alone, that'd be fine. But this can't be. Like, in 2022, we can't do this again.
I want the audience to correct me if I'm wrong on this, because I feel like I'm saying this purely out of instinct from watching the Diamond Leagues this year. I feel like Ivana Spanovich in the women's long jump won all of her competitions that she won, and not one time in the competition did she have the longest jump. But because she
that
always,
feels right.
because she always benefited from the final round, her world ranking is going to be way higher than it would be otherwise. Her money, she probably made 100K this year off of this crap. And I don't think she actually jumped the furthest in any of the competitions. It's just weird. It's just wrong.
Well, it's just bad, right? And I think the reason why I think it's so bad is like Sebco will sign off on this, right? But if I came up with an idea of like, hey, how about this? After the semifinals or after the first round of 100, you know, when we go to the finals of a Diamond League, let's augment all the blocks to represent the time separations there were from the previous round, right? So now we have we can make a more equalized race. So if you blasted everybody in the first round, like now you start back, you run 100 and a half a meter, right? Doesn't that sound ridiculous? But it's no more ridiculous than what they did to a field event, right? If I said to Sebco, okay, before we start the 8, we'll look at everybody's PB, and in order to equal them, we'll do them like they do horses, right? Well, you have the fastest time, so you run with a 2-pound weight on your back, and you have the slowest time entered, and you get to run with just your singlet. See, all these things sound ridiculous, but literally, these are the same kind of things they did to the field event competitions. And it's ridiculous, right? Like, it doesn't make any sense that they ever meddled with them, because they didn't need meddling. You know, you want better fan participation? Stop cutting events that people like.
There is an argument out there. It's a ridiculous one, and I'm pretty sure it came from the great Natasha Hastings, who I'm a fan of. Gamecock, but this was bad. She says she likes it because in her event, after the semifinals, everything resets and then everybody has to race again. What you do in the finals is the only thing that matters. You cannot equate a final round of a sprint race or a running event to a competition in the field. It's literally different sports. That is not the way that sport is conducted. And comparing the final 3 jump to a sprint final is insane. Don't make that argument.
She did the Gamecock Nation no favors with that.
She didn't. And because I love her and because she's a Gamecock, I can't let you get away with that, Tosh. That's bad money right there. That's bad.
Yikes.
I no disrespect to anybody who runs, obviously, but I just don't think that we need to have running people meddling with field events, and we don't need to have field event people meddling with running events, right? The events, they're all pretty good. Like, let's just be honest. Like, each event has been relatively well thought out for the most part, and they all play a role in like the giant pantheon of what makes the sport of track and field awesome, right? Like, the only thing I'm here for is, like, back in the day, it wasn't Diamond League, it was the Golden League. They had, like, your event wasn't a Golden League event every year. Like, that actually makes some sense to me, right? If you're like, in odd years it's the 100 and even years it's the 200, like, okay, I can, like, that I can get with. That's a tweak that I can get with. In even years it's the long jump, and odd years is the triple jump. Okay, I'm here for that. But tweaking how the event is run doesn't make any sense.
See, I'm not here for any of that nonsense.
Yeah, I'm not either. But it's not as bad as this.
No, if it's an Olympic final, if it's something that we're awarding medals for, then it should be a Diamond League event every year.
I mean, I'm a fan for sure.
And the pay scale should be the same, and everybody should get paid, and it should be this. See, we're always trying to do something to make ourselves better, so we upset the normalcy of what we do, the flow of what we do. there's a lot of other things that are wrong with track and field than the last jump or last throw.
Indeed.
Oh my God, yes.
You don't need to get into all that tonight. But at the end of the day, you're tweaking something, you're messing with something that doesn't need to be tinkered with. And that's all it is to it. So I'm not serving up, well, let's just go every other year. I'm not serving all that up. I'm serving up, man up, take care of track and field.
And
Take
just
care of all the events.
to close this out, just one more time for the one time, because it is
Retarded. That's what it is.
Yes, but just one more time, because I know it trolls Lamar at his core. Who is the architect of this, sir?
I am not going to throw this man's name out there under the bus.
We did it already. I just forgot. We did it on the old show. Who did this again? Because he comes from your world, the decathlon world, multis world.
Yes, that is very true. And worse yet, he's married to another field eventer. That's the worst part.
See,
They got in a fight that day.
I hope so, and I hope she won.
Listen, that's not a bad, that's a plausible thought, because all this idea is petty and spiteful, and so maybe that's what it was.
Just Cheerios.
Just awful. Literally, it's just an awful idea.
Shout out to Sean Pickering for giving us that information again. Thank you, Sean. Yeah, we needed that information, because now it's full circle. But finishing up the topics with some more absurdity, is this has been I don't think that any of this is, I don't think a positive drug test is ever a completely foreseen action, thought, consequence, right? But this year has definitely been the, okay. With drug cheats on the whole, not speaking about any one, any group, any situation specifically, how do we handle this? How do we make it so that, like, not winning, being dirty isn't glorified? Like, the purity of the sport comes back. Is that a thing? How do we punish enough, if that's basic enough to say?
I think the biggest issue you have here is there's no consistency through all this. There's every case you hear about, there's a different story, there's a different storyline, there's a different excuse, there's a different punishment. Until there is serious consequences behind this, until there's a way to do a better job of catching the cheats. Me, I'm always on that same soapbox. A lot of money involved, they're going to cheat. A lot of egos involved, they're going to cheat. And I'm not the guy, I'm not that smart to figure out how to stop it all. But I do feel like until the punishment fits the crime is going to keep happening. Because right now the punishment doesn't fit the crime. And somebody out there can correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm not sure. But I've been told, and I believe that, so if you're on a drug suspension, you don't continue to get tested because you're not competing. So if you're not competing,
that is correct, because you fall out of the top 25 in the world, so you don't get tested.
So you're going to take a drug cheat, and so you got 3 years. So we're not going to test you for those 3 years. The punishment has to fit the crime.
I'll take a stab at being that smart, and I'll say exactly what I've been saying forever.
If you steal my idea, I'm going to fight you. Just so we're clear.
I don't know if I will. I doubt. I'm sure we'll have some nuanced differences here, but I'm call it whatever you want. I'm hardcore on this particular issue. This is not complicated to me. Cheating in our sport is literally fraud. That is what you are. You are a fraud. So, one, if it is proven, like, I'm not talking about the speculative stuff. I'm not talking about, whereabouts failures and all that, though I do believe those punishments should be more severe. If you are caught doping as an athlete, you should be banned for life. Life. The first time. Why? Because you are a fraud. You have taken money off of people's tables, out of families' mouths. You are disrespecting the culture. You are not worthy of being in it. Athletics is not a right. You can go get another job, deliver mail, work at McDonald's, like do whatever it is that you want to do, but you can't be here. If you are a coach that is proven to have facilitated, overseen, assisted in this charade, in this fraud, you should be banned for life. The first time. Not no do-overs, but if you're gonna have that standard, then you have to have the, documented stuff, provable stuff, right? And since this all ultimately boils down to money, because you have committed fraud, you should be open to being sued financially for your fraud. So yeah, I might win $1 million cheating, but it might cost me 10 on the back end. So I might think twice about doing it. The truth of the matter is right now, you can cheat, you can get popped, you can come back, and you can make more money while you waiting in the wings. So for me, I'm hardcore. I want them out. I want them out immediately. I want them out the first time. And I think if you have that level of seriousness about it, you have a shot of totally cleaning it up. I don't think it ever will be. There's always going to be somebody that's willing to go there. Oh, and by the way, the agents too, because they're a huge part of this mess, banned for life in a way where you can't, be in the wings and have Chew be a face and you're still in the game, still making the money. No, banned for life. Take the money, ban them for life the first time. That's me. I don't know what to say.
So first off, Chuck, when I see you, I'm punching you. Secondly, I don't know that I could possibly agree more, but I am going to even go further. I've never understood why drug cheats get to cheat more than once. I've never understood that, right? And Sir Lucious and I have had this conversation about how IAAF, now World Athletics, just makes it up as they go. I'm gonna give you some examples, okay? Chuck Debus and Charlie Francis are banned from the sport forever, right? I'm trying to think of the exact right people. What is wrong with me? Marion Jones, who never failed a drug test, right? Banned from the sport for life, ostensibly.
Yeah.
Not officially, but ostensibly. But then you get Justin Gatlin, who gets banned from the sport for 6 years, but only serves 3.5. You get others who were banned from the sport for 4 that only ended up serving 2. Like, what is this, good behavior? Or what, because you snitched on somebody else, like we cut your sentence from 4 to 2, right? Like, let's not forget, there is somebody who has now been banned from our sport for 5 years, not for failing a drug test, but for basically involving herself in the process of them, in the drug testing process erroneously, right? So she basically lied within the process, but she's never tested positive, like none of these things, right? And think about this. Her ban is 5 years. That's the most random, make it up as you go as humanly possible. Nobody's ever been banned in our sport for 5 years ever, right? They literally make this stuff up. And at the end of the day, why is it complicated? It's not. If you test positive for a banned substance, you should be banned for life. Hey, newsflash, if testing gets better and they go back and test your samples and you would have been positive, retroactively, I want them to take all of your medals away and all of your marks away too. Because this just in, we couldn't test for human growth hormone in the 80s and the 90s and the early 2000s. We can now. We didn't have electrospectrometers, and we didn't have blood testing then. We do now.
That's right.
And at the end of the day, if the sport is gonna be clean, right? If that's what our expectations are, clean sport, then semi-clean and almost clean and sort of clean, none of those things make any sense. If you test positive for a banned substance and your B sample tests positive, bye. Like, there's nothing else that makes any sense. And there's nothing else that would be a true deterrent. Because as Clyde said, like, it is fraud. And you have to be able to be sued, and here's why. If Sir Lucious wins righteously the silver medal, and he passed all his drug testing protocols, and then the gold medalists, 9 months later, it's found out that he was dirty then and is dirty now. Taking away his situation from then forward, even going backwards and taking the gold medal and giving it back to Sir Lucious has still been robbed of something that is irreplaceable and has a monetary value that is uncalculable.
Yes.
Right? I love my life, but I'm going to tell you this right now. Had I won the gold medal and not the bronze medal, I probably would not have become a track coach, because there would be too much money that I would be leaving on the table as a gold medalist in the dog and pony show world and in the television world and in every other world, to leave that to go coach because I love to coach. So it is almost unquantifiable what is taken away from you when your gold medal moment is taken away from you. You don't have gold medal pictures. You don't have the Wheaties box. You don't have all of those things. And when they give you this half-ass ceremony and they present you your medal in front of, like, you, your mom, your cousin, and your auntie and them, like, you're just happy to get the medal. But the truth is, you've had so many things stolen from you, you can't even count them.
That's right. Damn the ceremony. Run me my money. Run me my money.
Like, it's thievery at its highest level. And for my money, it's just this simple. If I train my butt off to beat you, to beat everybody in the entire world, and I do, but you make it seem like I didn't because you cheated, trust me, I want to come after you with everything. I want the full force of all laws.
Yeah.
And when you can receive a bigger ban for tampering than you do for getting caught.
5 years, man.
You get
if she serves all 5 of those years, that is the longest ban for somebody who would then be allowed to run.
And it goes back to what I said: the punishment doesn't fit the crime, and until
not even close.
But it continue. When you can get in more trouble for interfering with the process or whatever they claim that she did, than you can for actually cheating the process completely. Then there's an issue with that.
Now,
these are facts, my friend.
I agree. I agree with the hypocrisy of the punishments not being consistent and seeming random at times. However, I started with this. I'm on the ban for life train if you get popped. I'm on that. But the second tier of people, the people who are tampering, who are missing, you know, not being where they're supposed to be, those kind of things, I actually think those punishments are too soft. I don't have a problem with 5 years for that. I don't, because like, we don't know the why behind why those situations come up. What we do know is you're in violation of the protocols as they are written, and you're not supposed to be. So for me, a person who says if Chu is actually popped for drugs, she should go away for life, I have no problem saying if Chu is screwing with the process and I can't figure out if she's doping because she's screwing with the process, you can go sit down for 4 or 5, 6 years, whatever. I ain't got no issue with that.
I can live with
again,
that. I can live with that. If the lifetime ban was for the drug cheats, I could live with that.
Oh, right. Yeah, no, yeah, I'm with you, because that's not the reality that we have right now. So
Right.
the 5-year bans seem that particular situation seems random. It seems excessive. Totally understand that.
And
Like,
it is excessive when the drug cheat gets 4 years.
oh yeah,
It is excessive.
absolutely. But see,
That's-
and this is, and I think, but as Lamar hit it on the head, in a sport where the athletes are severely underpaid given what they do, it's harder to stand on an Olympic podium than it is to win a Super Bowl with 52 other dudes helping you. But they're millionaires 10 times, 20 times, 100 times over. And, you know, our gold medalists, some of them don't make 6 figures. Okay.
Yeah.
So to me, it's the hardest thing to do. Therefore, when you get cheated out of it, it's literally the biggest fraud, the most disrespectful. And for me, you know, when we start in this country, when we start getting into, you know, issues that are systemic, racism, social injustice, all of this, doping in our sport is a systematic problem. And the administrators of our sport are involved in it and have helped it and have covered it and have been a part of it. The shoe companies are, the agents damn sure are, and the coaches have been as well. So if I'm going to turn my extremely judgmental, ban you for life ire at the athletes, it has to be all of them. I want the coaches out. I want the agents out. I want all of them out. That's me. I'm hardcore like that. Most people think I go too far with it. It is what it is.
And see, and here's the problem I think that you face with all of that. You know, my man Lamar has been saying this to me for years, that the track and field world is like the mafia, and everybody's and it's when the higher ups in the sport, when it starts with whatever they're calling themselves, IOC, whatever they're not the IOC, but the IAAF, whatever they're calling themselves, this when it starts with them and trickles down, you know, there's got to be a reason why the lowest paid faction of this situation are the performers in it all.
Yes.
Okay, so it's a big racket to begin with. So in the back end of it, then who's got their hand in Water's pocket, sliding money in Water, helping to make these decisions?
Yep.
That's what you have to ask, because clearly there's some biases here and there as to what they want to happen. So,
Well, we gave 2.5 answers as to how we could resolve it or give some alternative punishments. Let's just call them that, what they are, punishments, as to what can happen. And we'll see. Who knows? Like you guys said, it's the roots are way deeper than we know. And so it's until someone has the balls to cut it off, it's at the root, there isn't ultimately going to be change. So we have checked the list, checked the topics, and we will move on to rapid fire. So Lucious, you're in line, sir.
let's do it.
Reset that Fitbit, get your pulse ready. Are you ready, sir?
Absolutely, I am here.
All righty. OH.
IO.
All right. Had to make sure you're paying attention on the first one.
That
What
one was
Cleveland?
pretty, so.
It is, but it's the warm up. It's lap one.
Okay.
What have you made sure to keep around in regards to philosophy, training, whatever it is, however you want to faction this question, in regards to your progress as a tenured coach? What piece?
I think for me, it's just consistency. You know, I make small tweaks, but not major. You know, I don't just overhaul and throw out the whole engine when it's running pretty well. I think that's a mistake a lot of people make, is they want to get better and they just make wholesale changes to what they do, and it causes issues. So I think the big thing for me is consistency. I have a pretty solid plan that seems to work pretty good, so I just try to be consistent with that. So.
Just a little bit. I mean,
Yeah.
it ain't broke, so.
Right.
What Cleveland Browns jerseys do you own?
Zero.
Okay, LLC
See, like,
fan.
okay, so you understand, like, there's a rule in the Holloway household. We don't wear other people's names on our backs. No, not my last was Holloway. Look, I'm a big Jim Brown fan, and if you find me a jersey just says 32, I'll wear it. But if it's got Brown on the back of it, that's not my last name, so I'm not wearing it.
I can get with that.
I don't know why
That's
Lamar's shaking his head right now, but
I'm not mad at that.
Yeah, I'll say I don't buy jerseys with names on it for that reason. I won't wear somebody else's, so I always have the generic one. But anyhow, I think everybody else just had an awe moment. So
I
like
don't have a jersey in my house. Like,
interesting.
the last time I wore a jersey was when Reggie Bush was in college, and young man wanted a Reggie Bush jersey, and it got mailed to me, and I wore it out to practice just to be funny, but didn't have his name on the back though, so it was good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Start sending Lamar random jerseys.
Right.
Start
Lamar,
sending them like
Yeah.
Lamar.
Lamar.
I'm gonna start sending Sir Lucious random WNBA jerseys.
Oh my gosh. I
As long as
know.
I have a name on the back.
Oh my goodness.
Man.
My
When in
granddaughter's
doubt.
like,
That's funny. That's yeah. Actually, I think WNBA is more
or
acceptable
better
than
yet,
anything else right now.
I'm gonna start finding professional athletes whose last names are Holloway. Just start sending him random ass jerseys.
There you go.
The
That's
dude is
way-
an
that's way more petty,
offensive
though.
lineman for the Titans. I'm making that up.
yeah, you are.
Anyway,
Jamal Holloway.
stop it.
All right,
Mute
sorry.
yourself
I'm
again,
sorry.
please.
Yes,
Um,
yes, ma'am.
When in doubt, where do you go for lunch?
Oh wow. Chick-fil-A.
Got it.
Chick-fil-A.
I'm in my head right now. I see everybody going like, "Oh, me too." So there you all go for Friday night entertainment. Having seen your last costume get up, are you already getting ready for Halloween?
No, absolutely not. I mean, look, that was more than likely that was a one in a lifetime thing. I mean, my girl Stacey Fowler turned 50. Love her, love the family. They're part of our family. And I told her she must know that I love her, because you guys know I don't do that. I got on Lamar for encouraging me to do mess like this. Yeah, there it is. There it is.
It was awesome to see. I'll say that much. Yeah, that happened.
I had a lot of fun, but no, there will be no Halloween. No.
I love it. All right. What is the one piece of something that sits on your desk that is a must-have? Like there's no way it'll ever leave your desk.
Oh, the yellow tablets, like my notepads. Like I have to have, like there's probably a stack of like 8 or 9 of them close by, because in each one has a different purpose.
Yeah.
And so like there's one that's for the short group, there's another one for this group, and then there's another one just as a reminder, notes for me, and there's another one. Yeah, I got a bunch of them. Like those have to be within arm's reach at all times.
So I'm going to have to show you to the remarkable life. It's been a lifesaver. We'll talk.
Okay.
Because I started this conversation on Facebook myself, does pineapple belong on pizza?
I don't know. I've never had pineapple on pizza. My taste buds would, because you know me and my bland stuff would tell you no. But just because I actually said when I saw the conversation, I said, I'm gonna try it.
Yeah.
Clyde's telling me
so good. So good.
But I'm gonna try it. I mean, because there's people in my office that think it's good as well. So
yeah, so good. I know you don't do spicy, but jalapenos with pineapple on pizza.
Yeah, so now I'm not
phenomenal.
No.
But you have to have that. I saw the bacon pineapple ham thing. I don't know. That looked good. But anyways, moving on. Last question. Do you prefer to sleep with 1 or 2 pillows?
What?
Got it. All right. That is my harassment for the day. Gentlemen,
I'm just glad you think suspect like you have in the past. I think the pillow one was trying to go to with the pillow with. So.
No.
Based on his, his I put my pants on leaning up against the wall. I thought he was gonna say like I sleep standing up or something crazy.
So being it, this is the part of the year where fanhood in college sports is at its all-time peak of madness. And given, Sir Lucious has been with the Gators as long as he has, you can give this to me track and field wise or just in general.
Okay.
Which SEC school do you hate the most?
Oh, hold on. I have to pop my mythical popcorn.
Hate the most. Wow. I mean, I don't know that I hate a SEC school. To be
Brother,
honest
I'm an alumni. There's hate across.
Okay, see, look, I know that we are the most hated school in the league. I know that. We're mocked because of the Gator Chomp and everything that we do. But honestly, I've been asked this question a lot, to be honest with you. I don't have a dislike for any of them. I want to beat the heck out of everybody, yeah. But I don't like, when it comes to football, I got a problem with Alabama because they pound us, right? And like, I don't hate, I admire Nick Saban and what he does.
Okay.
If there's a school that I don't want to play in football, it's Alabama.
Okay. All right.
In basketball, it's Kentucky.
Okay. He's kind of doing a Gregory Hines with us. So let me put it to you this way. I'll give it to you this way because you can answer it this way, I believe. Which SEC program do you enjoy beating the most?
I just told you, football is Alabama and basketball is Kentucky. I
said you don't coach none of that.
Oh, in track and field.
Yeah.
They're all the same to me, sir. There will be no locker room material out of this mouth.
No one believes you, but
I would have just won $10 billion on that answer. I was like, he is going to give you nothing but chalk and vanilla.
W. No way, sir.
You are a very skilled dancer. No one believes you, but I appreciate the skill. He
is definitely Baryshnikov and Gregory Hines mixed together, for sure. I have a simple question for you. Okay. You have achieved a great number of things, but I know you, and I think I know you almost better than everyone else. So I'm going to ask you a very difficult question, an underbelly question. One goal, I know you have several. One goal that you have not yet achieved that you desire to achieve before you retire from this sport.
Oh, that one's the easiest. Win a women's national championship. That's easy. I mean, we've been.
I thought you hadn't you heard that you can't coach women?
Yeah,
you didn't hear that? Okay.
I mean, and everybody's entitled to an opinion, and their opinion is none of my business. But if there's, it doesn't haunt me or anything like that. But if there's one thing that I definitely to check the final box, so to speak, it would be to coach a women's national championship team. And the other one will be is to coach women's medalists at the World Olympic Championship level. Those are two things I haven't done yet.
Fair enough.
Is that what you thought I was going to say?
Like I said, I know you too well, so I know that there are several things that you have a desire to do that you haven't done yet. So I was just interested to find out. That was a legitimate question, to find out legitimately what the answer was.
So those are my career type goals, but my number one goal is for my children and my grandchildren to all have college degrees. That's my number one goal on my bucket list.
That's awesome. Well,
got a lot of work to do, but we're on the way.
They never said it was going to be easy.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, goodness. Well, thank you, sir, for being in line with us tonight. But we will move on to our heartbeat props so that we can recognize some people that can hear these with their 2 ears. I'm going to jump in and go first. Sorry, I'm cutting you off, Clyde.
Uh-oh.
I have a former athlete who I've worked with in the past, and she reached out and said, I'm getting bored with life. I want to train for the 8. Huh? What? I said, babe, you know, you have a few years for the master's ranks, right? She's like, yeah, I'm just bored. So I think I'm going to do it. And this is all of what Jordan Guerrero is. And she's that kid, you know, coming into San Francisco State. There wasn't a home for her in an event group. So she's like, I like you. I'll go with you. I was like, okay. And then, you know, 5 months later, not even that long, she's triple jumping and is all conference by the end of the year and whatnot. And, you know, we don't do indoor as many of you know, but she's just that person. And now she was that young lady. Now she's that woman, and she's becoming a professional. She's at Stanford in the graduate nursing program, things of that nature. And she had the audacity to say she's bored, so she wants to train the 8. So, you know, that just goes to show like how awesome these young people are, how awesome they can be. And I wanted to know that. I think that, I've thought that, and I've always known that. And I love to see it still happening. So JG, love you, baby girl. I'll know that I'll watch you run the 8, but I got you.
Mine is simple. Oh,
Go ahead.
Mine is super simple. We've been doing the the coaching carousel shout outs for a while now, and it's still spinning 100 miles an hour. But I have my own stuff going on out here, and my heartbeat props tonight are to Ernie Clark and his family for allowing me to recruit him to come out west and come join the show at San Jose State. Super excited to have that. I know a lot of people didn't think that see that move coming, and I could not be more excited to have Ernie on the staff. So thank you, sir. It's going to be fun.
I'm going to jump in there and be pretty simple. A good friend of mine, we were supposed to go to lunch on Friday, and he called me, texted me last night and said that his wife, who is pregnant, has COVID. And he was like, not really concerned, but concerned, if that makes any sense. And we all allow ourselves sometimes to get into what I call too much texting and not enough calling. And I'm 51 years old, and I would prefer to call than text. And so since last night, I have called him 4 times. And the first 2 times he didn't answer, I left a voicemail. The second 2 times I talked to him, and she is doing fine. They went to the hospital last night because her breathing got a little labored, but she was released after an hour, and she and the baby are both doing great, and everybody's fine today. So that's why I can say these things. But I want to give my heartbeat props to Mr. Carl McCargo and his family, because he also has a toddler who's 3. Because like I told him today, life is way more important than anything else. Right. And we had some business we were supposed to do, and he was like trying to worry about doing. I said, dude, if you talk to me about these t-shirts one more time, I don't care. about any business we were supposed to do. How is your wife? And at the end of the day, I just want to say, you know, to him, because he does occasionally watch the show, and his wonderful family, and Gavin, who got to stay out of school today. But he is a 3-year-old that knows how to say the word Pedialyte, which I thought was cool. Look, I love you all, and stay healthy, stay safe. And just, this is the kind of family they are. She's pregnant and she got COVID because she works in a school and she was helping a young lady who was having an asthma attack.
Oh.
She has a mask on. She goes to help the young lady and she's like heavy breathing directly in her face. And somehow, I'm going to guess, heavy breathing, and she probably breathed in through the mask. And that's pretty much the only way I'm going to guess that she could have got it, because, like I said, she was masked through the whole process. But, you know, that's the nature of people who are responders and first responders, right? Like they think about other people before they think about themselves, and think more about other people's lives than they do their own. So my heartbeat props go to the McCargo family, and I'm glad that they're safe and healthy, and I hope that they stay that way.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask for a double tonight, if you guys don't mind. The first one I'm gonna give to Cindy Kruschke. She runs one of the bowling centers where I bowl on Monday nights, and she, over the last month, has become a big fan of the LLC. She really enjoyed our segments on mental health. She lost her husband a few years ago, and I want you to know, Cindy, as you watch this, that you are much stronger than you know. Watching you do what you do when I'm at the bowling center, the number of people that you help, including myself, when I'm struggling with my bowling, and just the joy and happiness you bring to others, you really make a difference in people's lives, and we all appreciate you. And if we don't say that enough, I apologize for them, because I'm gonna tell you every time I see you. My other heartbeat props go out to Mr. Tyrone Kemp. For those of you who know Tyrone is, you know, we've talked about the fact that he has ALS, and he's been struggling, and it's, you know, it's getting a little worse for him. So I ask all of you out there who are prayers to please pray for Tyrone and some kind of recovery. But just want to let you know, Ty, that I love you. A lot of us do. And thank you for all the joy and laughter and good times you brought to our lives, man. That's all I got tonight, guys.
Oh, man. Well,
Can I say one thing about Tyrone Kemp?
Mm-hmm.
Tyrone Kemp was the first person that ever made me realize that you didn't have to wait to be great. Because we're roughly the same age. He was one of the reasons that at one point in time I wanted to transfer to Florida. And when he won the NCAA title as a freshman, I thought that was the most ridiculous thing I'd ever seen. Because I thought that, like, that wasn't allowed. You know, like you jump in the carts and stuff. And he was the first person that let me know that it was okay to dare to be great and to upset the apple cart, and you didn't have to wait your turn. Yeah. So I too love you, Mr. Tyrone Kemp. And
well, special young man. And I'm going to say this because those people that had the opportunity to be around him, I never partied with Tyrone, because I don't do that, especially not with my athletes. But those of you who know Tyrone, I've heard that this is what he walked through the door saying: there ain't no party like a Ty Kemp party, because a Ty Kemp party
don't stop. Those are facts, sir.
Yes.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, once again, we've done it, gentlemen. We've gone through X amount of time to put some questions on the table, address them, give opinions, give facts, and let people have a broader spectrum on ideas of things that are going on. So I appreciate you all for all that you've done and all the growth that you give me day in and day out, especially on this show. But other than that, everyone, hope you enjoyed yourselves tonight. Have a great one, and we'll see each other soon.
When the lights come on, the road just get to running. When the mics come on, opponents mess the plumbing. But you like it warm, hot, knife the butter. Truth pin them hard, knock them off that rebuttal. Tsunami, tidal wave to your puddle. Tough love, punch you in the arms, little brothers. Athletics LLC, and there's no others. Track and field's place and appeal to go further. Hey, Wile E. Coyote, it's road runners. Feels like you know us, you've been with us the whole summer. If not for this quarantine, these four corners wouldn't be here, but we're here, so start learning. You gotta earn your stripes, gotta get your scars. Show you how to fight, but show us who you are. You lack experience, but still you wanna talk. And who is actually talking to? Your circle's kinda small. Heads prevail when the backbone's strong. Gotta keep it coming, no, it won't last long. Pass and fail, then sell the sad song. And if you don't check yourself, then that's wrong. Just trying to give you the real that you asked for. So why you keep cutting us off to ask more? We put it in slow-mo, but you fast forward. Athletics LLC, the task force.